everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. And I have to apologize first. We are in what we refer to in North Carolina as the 5th season, which is pollen season. And the tree pollen right now is crazy. So I am stuffed up with tree pollen. So please excuse my nasally nose. But hey, that's life in North Carolina. Regardless, I'm here today to jump on and talk to you a little bit about what happens if you feel like the time is right to sell and you're not quite ready to be out of your house. So it happens, right? It can happen for a bunch of reasons. Maybe because of the strong market conditions, maybe there's low inventory in your neighborhood or your price point. Maybe you have something that you want to purchase somewhere else, and so therefore you need to free up your capital sooner, but you're not quite ready to make the move. Or maybe, again, you want to take advantage of this market. However, you have a tenant in place in that home and you're wondering what to do. So I have 3 things that we can think about if you fall in this boat. You want to sell, you want to take advantage of the market, but it's not quite time for you to move on, or you're not ready to move on. The first thing that we can think about is something called a seller possession after closing. And that's really exactly as it sounds. It is a negotiated document and period of time between the buyer and seller that allow the transaction to close as per normal. Seller gets their money, buyer owns the home, buyer has the home insurance, buyer's paying the taxes. However, the seller has a period of time negotiated, usually less than 60 days, where they get to stay in the home. There can be a fee associated with that. There cannot be a fee. The seller typically maintains control of all the utilities, must pay those expenses, things like that. But this can be a really good short-term option for people that just need a little bit more time to get out of the home. In fact, I had a situation recently where my buyers were purchasing a property. The property had a tenant in place for a little longer than the closing date that they needed to protect their rate lock. So sometimes our buyers get in a situation where they have an interest rate locked for a certain period of time and we need to get closed. These buyers didn't really want to inherit a tenant, and it was important for the seller that the tenant was able to get through their lease period. So we just did a seller possession after closing. It allowed everybody to move forward, the property to be closed, and gave a little extra time for that tenant occupancy to end and the buyers to take possession. So seller possession after closing can be a great tool. The second thing that we can look at is a standard traditional lease back. So we can negotiate during the contract with buyers and lease your home back to you for a period of time using a standard lease, attorney drafted standard lease agreement. So you could continue to be a tenant in your own home, which means you get more time to plan, to move, do all those kinds of things, but you have your money up front. So that's the second option, is a traditional lease back. The third option is we can simply delay closing. So if having the funds in your hands is not the main driver for the decision, then what we can do is negotiate up front to have probably a standard due diligence period, standard inspection period, probably some pretty substantial earnest monies and possibly due diligence monies in play, but an extended closing. So maybe you just agree not to close for 90 days or not to close until the end of summer. Things like that. So that's the third option, is the delayed closing. Really the only downside to consider as a seller is these types of parameters can limit our buyer pool. So it's possible that it attracts less buyers that are willing to do one of these 3 options, which means it may just take us longer to find that person. So you just have to be prepared to pack your patience and maybe take a little longer than the traditional sales to get that house sold. But it's not impossible. So don't be afraid. If now's the time, if you really feel like you want to take advantage of the market, reach out, talk to me. There's lots of strategies we can use. So I hope you have a great day. As always, if you have specific questions, please reach out. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to make sure you're getting our newsletter, and we'll see you soon.